Welcome to the Pay Yourself First podcast. My name is Chris Jolly, and I'm on a mission to financially empower millions of entrepreneurs. I want you to make and keep more money so that you can begin implementing and turbocharging a plan for creating financial freedom your way during the life cycle of your current business without spending a ton of time or becoming a professional investor. You see, most of the financial teachings out there are made for employees, not entrepreneurs. If you wouldn't listen to someone who doesn't have kids about parenting, why take business financial advice from someone without a business? Are you ready to break free of bad advice and follow the trail of other uncommon entrepreneurs so you can get from where you are now to the lifestyle you were aiming to create when you started your business? Then stick around. Here comes another episode of Pay Yourself First, where the only investment we offer is the one you make in yourself. All right, everybody, welcome back to the show. I'm excited as always because today we have another amazing entrepreneur on. His name is Vaughn, and the company is called Dorjevski, and they make a wearable kind of similar to a Fitbit, except you actually put it on your tongue, which is much more accurate. So welcome to the show, Vaughn, and thanks for taking some time out of the day today. We're so excited to have you on.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know we're going to have some amazing conversation today. That alone will be really great for our audience to hear. But before we dive into those questions, I'd really love if you could take some time and share with everybody how you got to be where you are, because I know it's a very powerful story and we would all love to hear it.
I'll tell you how I started. So a few years ago, I had this idea, because the Fitbit, the Apple Watch, they use a skin, which I know is not accurate. I said, there's got to be a way where we can be more accurate. And that's how I came up with the company 2 years ago. What we do is we use the mouth. We use oral interfaces to check your blood pressure, your heart rate, your brainwave activity, your EKG, body temperature. Basically, that's how I came up with the company. I said, there's got to be a way to do something better and efficiently. And that's how I came up with the Dior smart device.
Very cool. And now you were explaining to me before we came on the interview a little bit about some of the different things that it tests for. And you don't have to go into all of them, but if you could just give our listeners a basic overview of what would happen if they put it in their mouth and what they could discover from it.
So you can put the device in your mouth, you can put it in there for a couple of seconds, or you can wear it for sleep diagnostics. You can wear it all night. Now we collect 5 health data matrices per second. So every second we're collecting 5 data points. So the longer you wear it, the more data we collect. And it's basically, I came up with the idea that when you're sleeping at night, there's so many issues with REM sleep and your diagnostics. So we gather all that data and then we give you a predictive analytics. One good thing about the app feature is too, it's real simple. So if you want certain features added to the app, you can add certain features. If there are certain features, you can omit certain features. So it's pretty much very customizable to user specific. And then what we test for is your heart rate, your blood pressure, your EKG, brainwave activity, body temperature.
Awesome. Your story is really interesting because you just started out, as some businesses do, drawing this out on a napkin. And like many businesses, you had a lot of people who necessarily didn't believe in you or the idea, and you persevered. Do you want to touch on that a little bit?
Sure. So when I was trying to put this company together 2.5 years ago, 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, everyone thought I was crazy. They said, this will never work. There's no way that, you can come up with this technology. And who uses saliva to test for any parameters? I said, okay. So I went to work on it. I worked probably 20 hours a day, around the clock, weekends. So what I was telling you earlier was I downgraded my lifestyle a little bit. I wasn't going out spending $100 on a meal with my wife and taking out my kids everywhere. I told my whole family, I said, give me a year or two. Let's live moderately. Let me take every penny I have and invest in this company. And all my family members agreed. You know what, Dad? We believe in you. Do what you got to do. At the time, I was working for a software company and I was making 6 figures. So all that money I made, I just reinvested in the company.
That's amazing. And that's something that a lot of people aren't willing to do. There's a ton of people who want to start businesses and a ton of people who do, but aren't necessarily willing to change their lifestyle in order to do it. So that's very commendable.
Yeah, to me, it's tough because I'm just like any other person. I like the better things in life, but I'll be honest, I'm transparent. Did I downgrade my lifestyle? Yes. It's a choice I took. I said, you know what? In order to be successful, I have to downgrade my lifestyle right now. Hey, you know what? Just swallow up your pride because, hey, I'm starting this company, but I still want to maintain the lifestyle I'm used to. You can't have both in my eyes. So to me, I didn't buy any clothes for 2 years. This shirt's probably 2 years old, 2-3 years old. Now, everything's changed. Now I have different companies that want to invest in the company, whereas before I was going to companies to try to get the investment. It's not the same anymore. Now investors and venture capital firms and different companies are coming to me and say, hey, do you need money? Everything's changed in the last 2 years. Everything has changed. But initially, yes, I was a poor man starting a company, if you want to get down to the basics.
Awesome. That's a great story. Now, how long from the idea to the prototype, and how long from the prototype to when you actually launch the business?
So my concentration was the first year, I didn't really want to concentrate on selling anything. My whole function was to make sure that we have a soundproof product with no errors. My focus for 2021 was just to gather all the data to build the app, to build the proprietary sensors, the software, because we have patents in design and software. So to me, it's not effective to have a device, but it doesn't work properly. So my whole focus for the first year in 2021 is make sure that everything works correctly. And then 2022, I focused on putting the app and cohesively with all the proprietary sensors. It took us, I'd say, 11 months to build the app and the interface with the sensors. Products officially launching in 1 week.
Where will you be launching? Is it going to be only on your website? Will it be in stores, online shopping?
So we signed a contract with a distributor. They'll take 120,000 devices for the next year. It's a good chunk of change for the company and the amount of devices. Like I just told you a couple of minutes ago, my focus wasn't on selling. I haven't even tried to sell yet. I've been working on the technology to make sure it's accurate. But yeah, you will be able to purchase it online. You'll be able to purchase from distributors. The distributors that we partnered with, they have contacts in Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Dick's, Dunham's, all the different pharmacies globally here. So we're trying to work that out as we speak right now. But yeah, you can purchase it online and through a distributor and of course retail.
Okay, very cool. In starting this business, what was your biggest financial challenge? And what is your biggest financial challenge right now?
Of course, when you're starting a company, everyone knows that your biggest headache is raising the funds. And it's difficult to get financing until you have an MVP, minimum viable product. So that was my challenge. Hey, I need 50,000 or 100,000 to produce this part. No one's going to give you that 50,000 or 100 grand unless you have a viable product. So my challenge was in the initial stages to raise the funds so I can produce the product. So that money came out of me. I took money out of my 401k to build that first prototype. Now, my challenge is really a lot simpler. Once you have a device, once you have the app, it's not even complicated anymore. Like when you're building like a tech company, when the app works with the design and the sensors, now it's easier to get financing. Now I have several companies that I'm negotiating with. Hey, do I need 1 million? Do I need 2 million? Do I need 10 million? I have multiple now investors that I have investors that'll dump 10, 20 million in the company if I need it, but don't know if I need it. Like I said, I'm trying to put everything in perspective right now, and we'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks.
Awesome. Now, let me ask you, as far as financial freedom goes, what does that look like to you? And more than what would that number be? What kind of lifestyle would you be living? Let's say the company has taken off and you sold it, or you got all the investors you ever need, and you didn't have to work another day in your life ever again if you didn't want to. What would you do with your time?
My thing would be is I would like to reinvest in startups because that was so difficult. And there's so many bright and brilliant ideas out there, but sometimes they're just lacking a perfect pitch. Of course, you can't spend 10 minutes and come creating this perfect pitch deck. It took me months to create my pitch decks. You got to know your investor. You got to know what you're willing to offer for equity. Are you doing equity? Are you doing there's so many different ways to secure financing. To me, what I'm going to do with my money is I would like to invest in other startups.
That's amazing and so needed. I like that.
Yeah, I think so too, because, again, nobody really helped me in the beginning. And now it's different. Now we have a neurosurgeon that works for the company. He comes to me for advice. We hired him. He's got a lot to add to the company, very beneficial to the company, to the new designs and the new technologies we're working on. Here's a brain surgeon asking me for advice. So sometimes it's a little overwhelming. I'm like, man, am I going to say the right thing? So I have two other doctors on the team as well. One's got 3 degrees, one from Harvard, one from Yale, and one from Columbia. The other doctor's got 4 degrees. So it's amazing. Sometimes I sit back and think, wow, I started this from a napkin 2 years ago. And one thing I'm very positive about is if I can do it, anybody else can do it. It just takes a lot of hard work, a lot of perseverance. I gave up a lot of time spending with my family, my kids. So that was my choice. I said, you know what? You guys are going to suffer for the next 2 years, but I promise you, I'll make it work in the long run. And my family all agreed to it. That was in their best interest.
That's really great that you had their support. And it's amazing what happens when you build a great product, because people will really just flock to you. And it seems like you're doing an amazing job of what they say you should do, is that you should hire people smarter than you.
I agree. I'm not Mr. Know-it-all. I've always had a philosophy that I want to be the dumbest person in the room because I like to absorb. I've always wanted to learn something. So to me, it's funny, we'll be sitting in the boardroom and then everyone's looking up to me for advice. And I'm the other way around. I'm looking up for them for advice. We work cohesively together on every issue. Sometimes it's overwhelming to add new features to technology. And then I have a simple theory. It doesn't matter whether you're starting a medical mouth device or you're starting a new computer. It doesn't matter. How do you do it? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. This thing is just so complex with the schematics, with all the different technologies and the app and the development and teams and so forth. How do you build this infrastructure? And then I said to myself, how would you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So every day I would concentrate. And till this day, I have 10 things to do every day. I still write them out. Like what's important today that I have to accomplish. And you were one of the key things highlighted. So to me, I think being very organized, disciplined, you got to be ambitious. I think those are the keys to success of any company, whether it's high tech or it's a small company. You got to start somewhere.
Yeah, that's really great advice because it can be very overwhelming when you start a business, but you really only can do one thing at a time. So like you said, you figure out what the most important things are to get done today, and then you do them. And that's all you can really do.
Agreed. My grandfather taught me this. He says, you can't have 10 fires. You can only add wood to this fire, keep it going. When you're adding 10 fires at the same time, he says, they're all going to burn out. Concentrate on one fire, build that fire up, then move on to the next fire. Yeah, I could concentrate 10, 20 things for the company, but my focus was one company, one medical health device, and technology that nobody else has got. Because to me, I wanted to start something nobody else has got. I don't want to compete with Apple. I don't want to compete with the Oura Ring. I don't want to compete with Fitbit. I don't want to compete with any of those companies. They would blow me out of the water. They got billions in advertising, marketing, developing. To me, I wanted to penetrate an industry where I have no competition. That's how I came up with my company. Do we have competitors in the mouth? Yeah, there's a couple of companies trying to start a sports guard. One thing with us, on our device, our battery is on the outside. For example, just say someone has a seizure, they bite down the device. If you bite down a lithium battery, it's toxic. With us, even if you do break it, which is pretty impossible to break it, it falls on the outside. So that's one of the technologies that I came up with. I want to make sure that our battery is on the outside of the device just for sports purposes. Basically, where I was trying to get at was sometimes everything is just so overwhelming. I told you about the elephant, one little bite at a time. Even though it's a humongous elephant, it might take you 2 years to eat that elephant, but one little piece at a time.
Yeah, it's interesting. I learned the same thing from my grandfather, but I learned it by learning to not do what he did because he was the opposite and always had so many things going on at one time. And I mean, he was a brilliant man, both intellectually and like with his hands. He could build anything, take apart cars. The house that they lived in for years, he basically built by himself. But no projects ever got finished because he always had 15 things going on at one time.
Yeah, see, that's why I learned from my parents too. My dad paid off his house in 3 years. So from 1976 to 1979, my father's not had a mortgage payment since 1979. He used to stay away from credit because his cash is king. So I kind of took his principles and I try to start the company on that principle that if you borrow against venture capital or you're borrowing a lot of money, you got to repay that money back. So the more you're in debt, sometimes it's a lot harder to repay that debt back. So my advice to any entrepreneurs, try to find funds from your family or yourself, or take it out of a 401k, or take out a couple personal loans then, because if you're talking to venture capital or so forth, they're going to want a huge chunk of your company.
Very nice. Now, for reference, by the time this podcast comes out, your product will also have come out. So congrats on that. What are your plans for the rest of 2023 after launch?
My primary focus is working with the military. We have several POs working for the military overseas. So if you're overseas, it gets really hot during the day, like 120, sometimes 130. The temperature I heard gets up to 140 degrees. What I found out was that at night, the temperatures drop and some of these soldiers are freezing and dying. So we have a built-in system in our device, has got a vibration system that we built and patented. But if your body temperatures go out of whack, and if you're trying to sleep, that device will vibrate out of your mouth. It's so powerful. We built those technologies into the phone. That's my concentration, helping with the military. I believe in giving back to the community. So whatever I make, like I said, I will help out any entrepreneur, anybody that's having difficulties. I'm also available, even though my time is limited. If somebody needs help with a pitch deck, business plan, operating agreement, corporate structure, I can pretty much help with anything. I don't mind helping because to me, like I said, nobody helped me in the beginning, and I'm a firm believer of what goes around, comes around. So if anybody needs my help, I'm willing to give that advice for no charge.
That's amazing and really appreciated and really needed. So if people did want to reach out to you, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
You can just reach me on my email. It's von@djor.org. That's my email. But our website is just diorsmartguard.com, and all the information is there. You can take a look at our website, and then you can send me an email. So if anybody needs help, again, I know pitch decks like the back of my hand. I know operating agreements. I put them all together. I'm building our business plan right now as we speak, and I can give you guys those templates, or I'll share those templates with you. You just change the information I have, all of my P&L, budgeting, forecasting, all that's very crucial. I have expertise in building a device domestically. I have experience building devices and software overseas. I'm pretty well-rounded when it comes to building this company. Literally, I built it from scratch to where we are today. So I have extensive experience from napkin to shelf space.
That's great. And then if people want to buy the device when it comes out, they can do that on your website as well?
Correct.
All right. Vaughn, it's been really great to talk to you. This has been amazing. You have such a great story and so much to share with the audience. I know they're really going to appreciate it. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to jump on and share all this value for the listeners. It's been such a pleasure to have you here.
Me too, man. The pleasure's all mine. So I appreciate you taking the time and giving me these couple of minutes. So I appreciate it. And anything you need from me in the future, please reach out to me. Again, it was great meeting you. And again, if anybody needs any help with anything, I'm available. I'll make the time.
Now, if you're listening out there and you enjoyed, please go ahead and subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. And if you are a six-figure online entrepreneur and would like to come on just like Vaughn did today and share your own insights for the listeners and myself and talk about your business and your journey, you can go to pyfpodcast.com. That's the letters pyfpodcast.com and apply. We'd love to have you on as well.
If you've listened this far, chances are you're an entrepreneur looking to become more financially literate and create financial freedom for yourself from your business.
The Pay Yourself First podcast
is definitely here to help with that. My goal is to continue to share what I've learned about using your business as the tool to create financial freedom. But let's face it, it would take me years to share with you everything you need to know via these episodes. Creating financial freedom is something that most people never even consider, let alone make a plan for or take action towards. It's something almost no one was taught anything about. Doing it as an entrepreneur is even more challenging, especially without support. So if you're ready to get clear on what financial freedom looks like for you, come up with an action plan, and get the support systems and accountability you need, I invite you to consider the Abundantly Infinite Entrepreneur. I created the program to help entrepreneurs just like you get a handle on their personal and business finances and start building confidently towards financial freedom. And it's how you can discover ways to take 10 years off your retirement, add an extra 5 or 6 figures to your portfolio, and finally get clear on what numbers you should be tracking in your business and why. Together, we'll gain clarity around your financial goals and what being financially free would actually look like for you. Then we'll put together a customized game plan to get you there and the accountability to see you through. And by the way, you're also going to get all the spreadsheets you need to run your numbers, lifetime access to the materials, including any updates, and entry into our members-only community. In addition to all the knowledge, coaching, community, and systems that you need to create financial freedom from your business, you'll also receive a free financial assessment, a retirement planning session, and guided meditation aimed at helping you embody the feeling of true financial freedom. So yeah, you can just listen to the free content on these podcasts to help you move towards becoming a financially free entrepreneur. And sure, you'll likely see some results, or you can make the decision to commit to learning, implementing, and embodying what you need to know to create the financially free life you dreamed of when you started your business journey. Click the link in the show notes to answer a quick questionnaire, and you'll be on your way to joining the Abundantly Infinite Entrepreneur.